For example, I watched this one of a young boy. He was 14 in school, and he was playing basketball, and he was autistic, and he was put on at the final 5 minutes in the game and scored something crazy like 10 or 15 baskets. But like, why wasn't he on earlier in the game? Why didn't they trust him enough to go on? Like, and I just think that, like, you know, if that was someone who wasn't autistic, would we all really be like, oh, isn't he great? You wouldn't be talking about it in that way. So I just feel that it kind of, you know, I feel that, like, people kind of, like, figure out, like, when they're watching these things, they're like, oh yeah, well, that's what it's like, you know, he wouldn't have been able to achieve that now, isn't he really good? And I find that reflects back to, like, work that I do as well, where people would say things like that, going, oh, isn't it amazing that you can do that? And I'm like, well, why wouldn't it be? Like, why wouldn't I do it? You know, that way, like, it's, yeah.
Nora, what do you think of inspiration porn?
I've learned so much over the last few years working with young people who have autism and people who have mixed abilities. So I guess, what would I know except for what they tell me, that it drives them crazy that people put up posts in order to make able-bodied people feel lucky. That's for want of a better word.
And I find, yeah, like, it's not like disabled people putting up these videos, it's abled people putting up these videos, uploading them and putting them on these platforms. Like, so where do we get a say in it, really? Like, you know, and have people got a say in it when these videos are being posted up? That's what I'd like to know. And
Eve, for somebody like you, you have often a hidden disability. That's the reality, is that if you see people who are in a wheelchair or prosthetic limb, I mean, sorry, Oscar Pistorius is a good example of why all of us, whether we've got mixed abilities or not, we can be bad and good, so that we're not all brilliant and perfect. I often think, I saw a post actually, Brendan, about a parent around about Down Syndrome Day who said, stop saying that I'm brilliant just because I have a child with Down syndrome. What does, like, on Down Syndrome Day, what does it feel to you? Do you feel those sentiments sometimes, that it's a celebration, or...?
Okay, I'm going to be careful what I would say. I would be a supporter of International Down Syndrome Day.
Me too.
Some of the times you see videos, you know, like when they get put on places like the Daily Mail and everything, I do think that we in the media, you know, and broadcasters, I would include us in it, we can tend to be very condescending around this kind of thing. But, you know, I think on the other hand, okay, and in real life, right? In real life, so I've an 8-year-old who has Down syndrome, and then she has an 11-year-old sister, right? And her 11-year-old sister has a thing she recognises in people straight away called the head tilt, right? And that's if when somebody is regarding her sister, they tilt the head a little bit, Anna's like, okay, the head tilt, and she's like, not down for that, you know, because she knows it's kind of, oh, bless, you know. But then, on the other hand, you have to say that we're coming from a space where people, kids like that, and people with intellectual disabilities certainly, were invisible. I grew up in that world. I grew up in the world where you never saw them, or I grew up in the world where you saw in the distance somebody with Down syndrome and, you know, you kind of averted your eyes. So, like, visibility is good, and you know what I think as well? I think a lot of people mean really well.
I do too.
But I think we're all learning. But I think, you know,